Digital Signatures, Achieving New Levels of Efficiency and Collaboration, hosted by Cadalyst and presented by ARX. This is Nancy Johnson. I'm editor of Cadalyst, and I'll be moderating today's event. So before we get started with the presentation, I have a few housekeeping items. I want to let all attendees know we'll have a time for a Q&A following the presentation today, so please hold your questions till the end. Although you can enter them at any point during the presentation using the question pane at the right of your screen. During the presentation, all attendees will be on mute. Before the presentation kicks off, we'd like to do a couple quick polls to see where you all stand on the subject of digital signatures. So if you wouldn't mind giving your feedback real quickly. The first poll will come up here shortly. First question is, yes or no, do you currently use digital signatures in your AEC workflow? Just give that a few seconds for people to input their feedback. Great. All right, thank you for that. It looks like about 3/4 of attendees are not using digital signatures technology yet, so that's great. We'll have lots of good information for you today. Second poll, second question. Just take a second for it to come up here. So how many documents in a given week do you sign? And this is either a combination of the old-fashioned manual signature, digital signature, you know, any type of signing that you do throughout the week. How many times do you have to put your signature on the dotted line? Less than 5, 5 to 15, or more than 15 signatures a week? Interesting. Okay. Just give you all a second to look at that. And we'll move on. We can close that poll. So with that, I would like to introduce our main presenter today. John Marchioni is General Manager and Vice President of Business Development at ARX. ARX is a company that has more than 20 years of experience in developing and implementing digital signature technology, and they are the developers of the CoSign solution. So John's going to give us some great insight into digital signature technology in general and the capabilities of the CoSign tool today. So with that, I will hand this off to John. Good morning, John, and take it away.
Good morning, Nancy, and thanks so much. And thanks, everyone, for dedicating some time to learn about digital signatures. Today, I'm going to go through why digital signatures are useful in a business in general, and also talk a little bit about the positive impact they have specifically on AEC businesses. We'll talk a little bit about U.S. and Professional Engineering Board regulations. I'll show you some live demos for context so you can kind of get the feel for how this technology works as an end user. And then I'll explain how the underlying mechanism works. Some people find it interesting to get that primer on the technology so you kind of know what goes on in the background. And you'll have a better appreciation for what this technology can do for you. And we'll also then review what it looks like for end users and also those that examine records or documents, those that are involved with audit or regulatory compliance. And finally, we'll talk about how to deploy digital signatures across an enterprise, given a generic deployment example. Okay, and then I'll be happy to address any of your questions. Okay. So with that, let's launch into the to the webinar. So today there are two categories of signing technology or signature technology. One is referred to as an electronic signature, which 100% of the time refers to a proprietary technique. This is a way of doing electronic signatures that are specific to one vendor. These are typically unvetted techniques, meaning they've had no peer review, and certainly there's no consistency among the vendors that market or sell these types of solutions. So essentially proprietary and non-standard. When we talk about digital signatures, and this is the focus of today's presentation, we're talking about the standard for electronic signing. This is a standard that follows NIST and international standards, and in contrast to the electronic signature, there is consistency among vendors that support a digital signature standard, meaning there's interoperability. You can sign with one vendor's solution and verify that signature with another, for example. And there are also other benefits to the standard approach, which we'll cover in this presentation. Okay, so for context, we're talking about standard digital signatures here. So why are digital signatures important, or why even use them? Well, basically it's an obvious answer. You want to automate signature-dependent processes in your enterprise or within your business. And a signature-dependent process can be any process where you need to express ownership of information or the source of the information or custody, or in a transaction you're acceptance of terms and conditions or approval because you have some authority to sign, or you're signing because you agree. So there are many reasons use digital signatures, many reasons, and so there's a good potential for efficiency improvement when you do start digitally. Digital signatures also provide integrity and verification within an electronic process, meaning if that process is inside your organization or outside or wherever that signed record goes or that signed document, the digital signature provides integrity characteristics and also a way to verify who signed it and that it hasn't been changed. And this is also true in the long-term record archive. You'll be able to pull the signed record out of your archive and check it for integrity and verification of the signer. These properties also lend themselves to better support for meeting your audit, regulatory, and governance requirements. If you have integrity and verification properties along your automated process, you're going to find it easier to come into compliance with good business practices and have an audit efficiency across your organization. So some of the business reasons why you might want to look at signing digitally. Another basic one is that, and we've all heard this, and we've all seen the data. Paper is simply too expensive. The point is, if you're automating your process for a workflow or for collaboration or for document management, records management, you also want to pay attention to automating that signature component. The point is, once you've automated and you need the signature, you don't want to hit the print button and produce that piece of paper again just to get the signature. In other words, you don't want to recontaminate an otherwise automated process with a piece of paper. Okay, and I won't read these statistics here. I think we're all familiar with the cost of paper and the benefits of eliminating paper, but you'll all get access to this PowerPoint, and you'll all have access to these data points presented here. AIM did a survey over, I think, 389 organizations about 18 months ago, and what they found is that in 56% of the organizations, more than half of the documents printed are printed for no other reason than to obtain a signature. It's a very significant statistic. What it says is if you started signing digitally today, you could be eliminating up to half of your printed documents instantly. So that's a heck of a good motivator in terms of cost elimination or cost expense savings that you could quickly realize if you got rid of your ink pens and started signing digitally. This survey also asked about interruption and time savings, interruption to business processes, and the biggest benefits of those using digital signatures found that accelerating the approval process, the acceptance process, the agreement process is also one of the more significant benefits. In other words, you don't have to slow down to print the document, take it to the person who has the pen, get it signed, put it in an overnight envelope, or rescan it. So a lot of savings if you can stay electronic or digital when you sign. And then finally, they looked across industries, across vertical industries, to see which industries were the most signature intensive. And interestingly, they found that engineering and construction is among the highest in getting signatures. There's very signature-intensive processes in the AEC market. So AEC, or engineering and construction, came out at the top of industries that are signing most often. And so this industry, this vertical in particular, has the best outlook for realizing the benefits and the savings of digital signatures. Okay, and we see this across our customers in this space. They continually give us feedback about the positive impacts digital signing has on AEC. These are positive impacts for collaboration and quality in an automated process, accelerating their customer service, and of course cost savings and sustainability. Here's a few examples. Blacking Beach, for example, has looked toward digital signatures for enabling remote engineers to sign drawings and keep the workflow going. So the point here is they can access those engineering resources that happen to be remote and traveling. Team members sign instantly wherever they are, and each engineer signs and seals his own drawings or report, leaving a clear audit trail and the chain of custody of that material. And the result, of course, is automation with enhanced integrity. You get that efficiency, and this also results, of course, in better, tighter collaboration, okay, more efficient. Faster customer service. This is another customer, Hague Engineering, that has taken advantage of digital signatures to cut printing and routing costs, and also to accelerate customer turnaround. This has resulted in fewer late projects and a greater agility to address clients' change orders in real time. So in the past, they claim that it took several weeks to turn a document around with wet signatures. Today, with digital signatures, their engineers digitally sign from remote offices, and the turnaround is a day or less. So quite a bit of calendar time savings or timeline savings there. And finally, cost savings and sustainability, another positive impact. Again, paper's too expensive. Paper, in addition to the fixed costs of printing and scanning, routing, archiving, replacing lost documents, when you get rid of paper, you also save staff time. And Braun Intertech, since they've implemented, is saving from 2,000 to 3,000 hours of labor a year alone. Not to mention, they've significantly reduced their paper, they've lowered their cost, and they have a better environmental sustainability profile around their business by eliminating that paper. Okay. Switching to U.S. regulations, digital signatures are legally enforceable in all U.S. states and territories, as well as in Europe, Canada, and so on. The regulations federally and at the state level simply say that if the law requires a signature, a digital signature satisfies the law. So if you're signing digitally, those signatures under the law have legal force and effect. Pretty simple. You can read about the details on this. There's a couple statutes. One is the eSign Act, which is a federal level statute, and the other is UEDA, which is the Uniform Electronic Transactions Act. Both cover the effectiveness of digital signing. Okay. PE boards have of course, their own view on things. Several PE boards allow for electronic content. Some still do not. Some still want paper content. The majority of PE boards, at least 40, encourage the use of electronic content and digital signatures on that content, with several recognizing digital signatures as the most reliable and secure for legally enforceable electronic records or signatures. Okay. PE boards, of course, though, will not endorse a specific solution, but nor will they criticize a specific technology approach. They will tend to appear technology neutral. They do, however, recognize the economies that one can get from not having to print to sign, and also the economies one gets from commercial off-the-shelf solutions that are also based on proven standards. Okay. I'm going to switch over now and show you a couple of live demos for context. I'll start with a simple Word demo. Here I have a Word document that is in a very simple workflow. Somebody's asking for a vacation request. I open the document. I look at the information here. I can change it if it looks the way I want it. I can then sign it. I can choose at the time I sign the appearance of my graphic signature. Okay, I have a number of choices loaded. I'll just pick one here with a blue ink. I'll click sign, and the system will issue to me an identity challenge, my username and password. And if I answer that identity challenge correctly, my unique digital signature credentials are applied in making the signature, and I have signed this document. I can also pass it to somebody else in the workflow, in the collaborative workflow. In this case, my boss will need to approve my vacation request, and he'll say, okay, have a nice trip. And so he'll add comment, and then he'll right mouse click, and he'll sign. And he'll add things like maybe a reason code, which can also be defined at the organization level, a pull down that people can choose from of reasons why you're signing. And then I just make this one a little different. I'll sign with black ink. And then answer the identity challenge, and now I've digitally signed this document second time. Now, digital signatures also carry with them a way to inspect what's behind that signature. So if I right mouse click, in this case within Microsoft Office, and I say show me the details, Microsoft Office will tell me the signature is okay. It'll tell me when I signed it, and it'll tell me who signed it by proof of identification or identity certificate, and who issued that identity. All of this information is embedded in the Word document and will travel with this document for the rest of its life. Also, if somebody tampers with this document after it was signed, I'll change 18 to 19, these signatures now become invalid. This is the integrity component of a digital signature. Digital signature ensures that no tampering with signed information will ever go undetected. Very important in an automated or an electronic process to have this integrity check. This way, people in the collaborative network in the collaborative process will know what they can trust and what they should not trust because of tampering. Okay, and because these signatures also carry the identity of each signer, and you can again see that by the certificate. What this means is that those people signing the document cannot later deny it's their signature. Okay, so integrity check to protect you from somebody tampering with what you sign, but also proof of identity, which indicates to everybody that you are the one who indeed signed this document. So that's a quick demo in Word. Let me show you a quick demo in PDF. So I'll simply right mouse click on the PDF. I'll say sign with CoSign. I'll get a preview of the PDF. And what I'll do is right mouse click and click sign. Again, I'll get a preview of my signature block. In this case, I want to pick my professional, my PE seal for State of New York. And again, I answer the identity challenge. And now I've digitally signed this document and applied my professional seal to it in one step. Okay, so I can save this PDF, and I can send it to anybody I wish, and then all they need to do is open the PDF with the free Adobe Reader, and you'll see the Adobe Reader has already verified my digital signature. It's giving me a green check mark up here. It says the document is signed and all signatures are valid. And just like in Microsoft Word, if I want to see the details of this signature, Adobe Reader will show me. I just right mouse click and I say show me the signature properties. And once again, I'll see proof of the signer's identity. Okay, and here's the certificate, just like you saw displayed by Microsoft Office. Adobe Reader understands the digital signature standard and allow this inspection. It'll give you proof of intention. If I would have filled in a reason code, there would have been a reason here saying I approve this drawing, for example. It'll give me proof of date and time and proof that the document has not been modified since the signature was applied. So those are a couple of quick demos. I can show you even one more with like a CAD-like drawing. Again, I'll right mouse click and say sign with CoSign. I'll get a preview of this. I'll go to the page where I want to place my signature, and I can do this free form. I just click the sign icon, and then I'll draw a box where I want my signature placed. Answer the identity challenge. And I've digitally signed this document, but let's do something a little different here. I'll show you a couple more features. Let me remove this. I can designate what I want to appear in my signature block, like reason code and date and time and title. And then I can sign this again, have a little more information in there. And now you'll see other identifying information in my visible signature block. Again, I save it. I can send this to whoever who has a free Adobe Reader. And once again, that person receiving the document will see that Adobe Reader, by the green check mark, has verified the signature. They can also right mouse click on it and again see more details about the signature properties, proof of identity, proof of intention by reason code. And notice that the signature allows all the original properties of the PDF to be retained. And nothing, in this case, you have a 3D drawing in the PDF. All of this is still intact. But now you have this nice integrity check in the form of a digital signature with also proof of signer's intention and proof of signer's identity. Okay, so a few demos for context. Let me go back to the presentation. And let's now go through the primer for digital signatures. I'm going to explain how the mechanism works. First thing to notice, though, is that the digital signature standard is most commonly designated as NIST, as a NIST standard, as FIPS 186. This is also the same standard that's referenced in ISO, CCITT, IETF, WC3, and so on. And it is the standard for signing that replaces slow, inefficient paper-based signatures on electronic documents, drawings, designs, or records. That's its purpose. And this is how it works. And just keep in mind that everything I'm about to explain happens in the background in a matter of a couple of seconds. It's exactly what happened in those demos that I just showed you. So the way it works is the user will open the document, and they'll fill in some information and click a sign button. First thing that happens is the document is passed through a hash algorithm. This is another NIST standard called the secure hash algorithm. And what this does is it generates the integrity check for the document. What it is a unique digital fingerprint or a unique digital DNA of the document. No two documents will ever have the same hash value. Okay? So it's hypersensitive to change detection, meaning if I take a document and I hash it, I'll get a hash value, a unique series of ones and zeros. If I take the same document and change just one character, say from a lowercase a to an uppercase a, and hash it again, several bits in the resulting hash are going to flip in value. Something's changed. It's not the same document. So that's the integrity check component of a digital signature. It's a hash value, or think of it as the digital DNA of the document. The next part of the process involves each signer's signature credentials. Signature credentials are made up of a key pair and an identity certificate. One part of that key pair is a large 1024-bit integer. We call it a private key. No two signers will ever have the same private key. You can think of the private key as the digital DNA of the signer, for example. And the way the signature is made is the private key is used to calculate an encryption operation over the hash. So think of it as encrypting the hash of the document with the private key of the signer, and the result is the basic digital signature, which had a contribution from the document's hash or digital DNA, and it had a contribution from the signer, which is their private key or the signer's digital DNA. This results in a child or the signature you could view as a child that has two parents, one being this document, the other parent being the signer. Okay? So in this way, a digital signature is a child of two parents, and these two parents can't deny the child. Okay? So there's no way to have a deadbeat dad in this system. Okay? You have, once it's signed with your private key, there's no denying it's your signature. Once the signature is applied to this document, there's no denying this is the document that was signed. So that's the fundamental part of the signature. What we do is we take that encrypted hash along with the identity certificate of the signer. We embed it into a signature block, and that signature block, which binds together the document and the signer, is embedded in the document. And any tampering with the document in the future will invalidate the signature. This is what happened in a matter of 1 second or 2 seconds in the background during those demos I showed you. The user will never feel any of this process, and this is the standard that's being used globally around the world. This is the standard that's supported natively in a number of applications, including Microsoft Office, Adobe, Autodesk AutoCAD, Bentley MicroStation, IBM Forms, and many others. Okay? So the result of signing this way is digitally signed electronic records that are legally enforceable and fully trusted and reliably verifiable. Okay? So digital signatures, so what? This is technology that's well known. It's peer-reviewed, embedded. This is important. because the algorithms behind this are public, and also because proprietary techniques are no longer acceptable. And that's because almost all, if not all, proprietary techniques are vulnerable to forgery. Digital signatures are immune to forgery, and have been proven so. It also means that your signatures can be verifiable anytime, anywhere, which means when you sign a document and send it outside your organization, that signature will have legal force and effect. Wherever that signed document goes, whoever receives it will be able to inspect it and verify the signature. And what this means is this type of signature prevents what we call vendor lock or vendor gridlock, meaning if you start signing with standard digital signatures today, you don't need to wait for everybody you work with to buy the same solution to verify your signature. They'll be able to do that with a free Adobe Reader, with Microsoft Office, with Autodesk AutoCAD, with Bentley, and so on. Okay? And this is technology that is endorsed by federal governments both in the U.S. and Europe. In fact, this is the U.S. standard for digital signing. It's endorsed by a number of standards and regulatory bodies as well as the Fortune 500. Digital signatures allow easy verification. Fundamental properties, proof of signer's identity, proof of signer's intention, proof of the date and time, of course, and also proof of document integrity. These are the fundamental properties that the digital signature carries. Okay? And with those properties, within an automated process or a collaborative network, you now have verification that allows trust, meaning trust with your internal employees, trust with external partners, external suppliers, external clients, external regulators, all have the ability to inspect and verify these signatures. And it's the trust component that really allows automation to scale. If you don't have the trust, it's going to be harder for you to scale up your electronic process. So it's this trust and integrity component that actually unlocks the efficiency of an automated process. The basic value is you get reliable proof of integrity. Green check mark says it's okay, red X says it's not. You get a known origin of information. Remember, you get the digital DNA of the document, the digital DNA of the signer. This eliminates deniability and also helps you clear up misunderstandings very quickly, right? And also, because it's a standard, it's broadly usable. Many applications are supported, and also because it's a standard, you'll be able to pull signed records out of your archives many, many years from now and verify those signatures, because the technique for verification and for signing is an open technique. And just to reinforce this is what it looks like for end users. You get a visible signature block, you get verification within the native application of the signature. You can drill down as an examiner and see that the signature is valid, and you can drill down even further and see proof of the signer's identity, their intention, document integrity. All of this information is carried with the signed document and travels with the document for the remainder of its life cycle, which means when you sign a document with a digital signature, you're actually transforming that document into a legally binding record that is self-contained, and wherever it travels, anybody that needs to inspect the record and verify it can do so. Okay? So very, very efficient. These properties and this inspection technique and this evidence really lends itself well to improving audit efficiency and reducing the burdens of regulatory compliance. If you have these properties embedded in the record, you're going to find your business moves faster with greater integrity. Okay? Now we're going to talk a little bit about a deployment example, and I'm going to use the ARX product as an example for for deployment within an enterprise or within an automated process. CoSign is delivered as a turnkey solution. It typically installs in less than 2 hours, and it's a turnkey and complete digital signature solution that builds in the key management and the ID certificate management, and also management of graphic signature images or professional seals. All of this is managed and maintained in one network-attached appliance. The way this is deployed is you deploy it under your existing user management policy and user management system. Okay, and this could be any Active Directory, LDAP, or if you don't have a user directory, CoSign has its own directory. But the point is, you have a pre-existing policy for how you enroll users in your organization that your administrator follows, and he manages this typically through a user directory. When you install CoSign, you're going to point it at your user management system. And when a user is added in this directory, CoSign is listening and will immediately generate the signature credentials, the key pair, and the certificate for that user. Likewise, when a user loses signing privilege, the administrator will remove them from the directory. CoSign is still listening, will delete the private key for the signer, and revoke their identity certificate. In this way, CoSign is dropped into your business process without having to change your policy, procedure, or system for user management or user authentication. So you can really spin up a digital signature capability very fast with this approach while maintaining full control over it. Your administrator gets to decide, according to your corporate policy, who has signing privilege, when to activate it, and also when to revoke it. And it's revoked instantly. The other nice thing about this architecture is that it can serve not only desktop apps, but it can serve web applications and mobile apps. Because the credentials and the signature operations are executed inside the appliance, you don't have to have software installed out here on these devices to handle the signature credential or handle the signing calculations. Basically, you open your documents out here. The user answers the identity challenge, username, password, for example. If they answer it correctly, the document is signed, signature results are added back to the document, and you keep your process moving. Okay, so this is an example of one way of deploying digital signatures that's turnkey, that is not disruptive, and most importantly keeps you in control over who has signing privilege. It also protects very well your signature credentials, your key pair, and your certificate, but it also allows the users to protect and control the application of their digital or digitized seals and graphic signature images, all managed from within the central appliance. Okay. So what is required for trusted collaboration and review? Well, maintaining the evidence or proof of signer identity, signer intent, record integrity, basic properties of a digital signature, but also maintaining control over when to establish or revoke signature privileges. Okay, so very important that the organization, according to their own governance policies, gets to maintain control over who has the privilege to sign and when. Proper support for signature automation. Well, this means that the signature must have a strong binding to the signed information, which it does if you remember the digital DNA of the document, the document hash, combined with the digital DNA of the signer, the private key. Creates a very strong binding to the signed information. There's a way to reliably identify the signer which is the signer's identity certificate embedded in the document, and that the signature can be verified by anyone at any time, which, of course, is another default property of a digital signature. Tampering with signed information should be easily and reliably detectable, and as you saw in the demos, it is. If it's not been tampered with, you get a nice green check mark. If it has been tampered with, you get the red X. And then signature privileges, of course, are best managed centrally by your current pre-establishing governing policy and procedures. It's not a good idea to deploy a signature solution that says you have to unravel your current governing policy and procedures. That's going to be very expensive. If you can reuse your current policies, procedures, and systems that manage users, that manage your authentication scheme, this is the most effective way to deploy a signature capability. There are a number of live demos under different applications on our website. I put this link into the presentation if you want to check any of those out. And that pretty much concludes the PowerPoint part of this webinar. Now, I'd be happy to field questions as we go. And Nancy, I'll turn it back to you for that.
All right, John. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. The good news is we have tons of questions coming in. So the bad news is we have 15 minutes left, so hopefully we can get through a lot of these. And just keep those questions coming in as we go through the Q&A. And we'll do our best to get to everything, and those that we don't, we have your contact information, and we'll do our best to follow up with you directly later in the week. Okay, so John, several people are asking about compatible file formats, and you mentioned several different companies and platforms, but specifically we're being asked as far as MS Office Suite, Autodesk GWF files, and the Adobe Reader files. What kind of compatibility is there across the different versions of those software solutions? I know it's very common for CAD departments to be dealing with multiple versions of the same software. So what's the story there?
Okay, so if we're talking PDF or the Adobe environment, it's any PDF or PDF-A document you'll be able to sign consistently, and you'll be able to verify those signatures with any version of Adobe Reader from version 6 up to the present, which is version 10. So that's Adobe. With Microsoft, if you're interested in signing Office documents, Word or Excel, if you use CoSign, you'll have backward compatibility from everything from Office 2003 all the way to Office 2010. But CoSign is the only solution that gives you that backward compatibility across different versions of Office. And then for things like Autodesk AutoCAD and Bentley MicroStation, the standard has been supported, I think, back at least 2 versions in both of those products, and their current shipping version escapes me. But at least you can go back, I think, 2 versions on both of those CAD packages, and you'll have consistent signature capability across those.
Okay, great. Thanks, John. What about, we've got several people asking, what happens when you've got a drawing set or a document that has multiple pages in it? Do you have to sign each of those drawings or pages individually?
You can, with CoSign, you can set it up where it'll automatically apply your signature or initial to every page in one step. So if I'm understanding the question, I think it's a question about capability of a solution, and that's one thing you can do with CoSign is you can set up and sign, have your initials or signature appear on every page with one click, or you can choose one at a time which pages you want your signature on, and deciding what you have to sign and where is really a local matter. It's up to the nature of the drawing or the document and the process that you're in, but you can do it one at a time, or you can do it with one click. Okay. You would just have to choose what location of the page, like in the lower right-hand corner or somewhere in the margin. You pick that up front, and then with the one click, it'll always appear in that XY location on each page.
Okay, got it. So you have the option then.
Yep.
That works for your workflow. How about applying your trusted signature from another computer, like if you're traveling or working in another office? Is that a capability that's available?
Yeah. So with CoSign, the only requirement is that you have access to your network. So you can be remote, traveling, and this is actually a feature that's been built into our product from the beginning. We refer to it sometimes as approve on the move. You can be on a business trip really anywhere, and as long as you can get on a network or access your network and access the document, you'll be able to answer the identity challenge and sign that document.
Okay, so maybe that answers this other question too about if you're in a work group that's decentralized, you don't have a central server, can this process still apply? Can the CoSign technology still apply across a decentralized work group?
Yeah, absolutely. You can have your documents stored locally on your PC, and again, you can sign them from there. So your work does not have to be centralized, and your work group does not have to be centralized. All you need is network access. That's it.
Okay, great. A few people are asking about approximately, could you describe the implementation process? We probably have a lot of CAD managers and maybe even IT people in the audience. How long are we looking at in terms of the time it takes to integrate CoSign in a work group or workflow and train staff to get up and running?
Yeah, it's less than a day, and really to get it installed, it's typically less than 2 hours. From the time you take it out of the box to the time when end users can start signing, it's typically about 2 hours. Now, the way this works is we will send you a questionnaire, which is 2.5 pages of multiple choice questions that you go through and you tick off a description of your environment, what applications you use, what directory you use with the IP address of your directory. Okay? Then when you're ready to install, one of our technicians will be on the phone with one of your technicians, and we'll go through that list together. Say, okay, take the solution out of the box, plug it in, type in the IP address at this time, and typically that's it. Now, administrative training roughly takes about an hour, and basically we use the installation process as the bulk of the admin training. So as you're going through that installation with us, you're learning how to administer the system. For end users, it's just as easy as I showed in those demos. You click on a button, it says sign, you answer the identity challenge, and you've signed the document. So the learning curve for end users is really low. If you're used to working with things like Adobe or Microsoft Office or your native application, it's a low learning curve for end users.
Great. What about cost? We have a few people asking, what are they looking at in terms of cost, and what is the licensing arrangement? Can you do network licensing for multiple users?
Yeah, so there's fixed cost for an appliance, and there's a fixed cost for a user. And it's enterprise licensing, meaning if you have 100 users, you'll pay for 100 licenses. If 10 people, if you hand those 100 out and 10 people quit your organization, you hire 10 new people, you reuse those licenses. You don't owe us a dime further. But it's unlimited signatures across unlimited applications for these fixed costs. So the idea here is the more you use CoSign under this model, the more money you save over time. In other words, it's not an ongoing tax. This is a solution that you buy, you operate, you control it, you essentially own it. And I'd like to not get into naming, throwing out specific numbers. If somebody has an interest, we would really appreciate them contacting us. One of my guys can go through their situation and come up with a proposal that fits. Okay.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. So if you see the contact email there, it's simple, sales@arx.com. You can get in touch with the company directly and talk about pricing specifics if you're interested. We continue to get several questions about specific file compatibility. Since everybody's on different software, different versions, I'll mention that the CoSign website, the ARX website, which is fantastic. It's really easy to navigate, lots of great resources there. If you go to the section about digital signatures and click on features and technology, there's a tab there. You can scroll down and see links to a specific list of compatible file formats and so forth. And we, Cadalyst, will have a landing page you can check back on within a day or so of this webcast by the middle of this week, where we'll have some of these links in addition to other resources that are related to today's presentation. And don't hesitate to contact the company directly, too, if you have specific questions and you can't find answers on the website. So let's see, we've got about 5 minutes left. Still lots of people hanging on, so we really appreciate your attendance and your attention today. I think this is a really interesting topic. So what about combining files, John? So maybe you've got one document or more than one that's already been signed, and you need to combine that somehow with something new. What happens in that scenario?
Okay, so the digital signature technique is canonical, meaning whatever you've signed, you have to have precisely that object available for verification. Otherwise, it'll be viewed as a change or a tamper. So if you've signed a document, you do have the ability to clear the signature. You can clear it, combine that document with a new document, and then re-sign if you wish. Or, yeah, that would probably be the most efficient way to do it. Now, within CoSign, you also have a feature that's referred to as signature clearing rules. And you can set that to say that only the signer can clear their own signature. No one can clear that signature, or anybody can clear a signature. So you have to decide according to your process what you're going to allow in terms of rules. But if you did need to, the scenario just described, there are ways to clear the signature, append new pages, or combine it with another document, and then
Oh.
Okay.
Did we lose you, John? Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, sorry. Cut out just for a second. So if you could just repeat that last sentence.
Yeah, all I'm saying is there are features and capabilities that allow you to clear a signature, combine it with more information or another document, and then re-sign.
Okay, great. So it's going to adapt to changes in the process. In other words, the CoSign solution isn't going to dictate how your process can proceed. You are able to adjust as changes are made, or you have to go back and redo parts of the workflow.
Right. And the other thing I should add is our solution has been in the market since 2003. It's had a lot of exposure to different scenarios, and so it's built up a rich set of features. And today we have over 5 million users on this product.
That's impressive. Okay, so we just have a ton of questions here. I'm sorry we won't be able to get to everything, but we'll do our best to follow up afterward. Let's see if there's one more. John, feel free to chime in if you see anything in particular that you know is a common question here. What about we had a question about PE signatures. Someone asked specifically, I noticed that you showed a date range with the signature for when that signature is valid. How can this be applied to a PE signature or seal that needs to be permanent? Is that a question you can answer, John?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I'll make one correction for their observation. It's not a date range for validity of signature that they saw. It is a date range for validity of identity. Just like when you get a driver's license, there's an expiration date to the driver's license. It's the same thing for your identity certificate. There is a valid life to the certificate. That's what the date range is for, but that doesn't refer to the signature. It refers to the electronic identity. Now, the second part of the question, I have to say I don't understand.
Okay. Well, yeah, specifically related to the PE seal. So we can try to.
But we don't. Here's the point I think on that. We don't issue PE seals. Those are issued by PE boards. So that question should be actually referred to their local issuing board.
Okay. Okay. So perhaps you're not really signing with your seal. This is kind of separate from that.
Well, no, you can apply your seal to the document, and then you digitally sign over everything, right?
I see.
So
okay.
On the demos, I had a professional seal there. I applied to the document, which that seal gets bound into the document along with the digital signature and the identity certificate. So it's all together, and there's a tight binding then created between the document, the signer, and the seal, and the identity of the signer.
Got it. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, one last quick question before we wrap up, because I wonder if other people are wondering this. Someone asked, is the CoSign logo shown with every signature, or was that just for your demonstration purposes?
That's just for demo, and we'll show you how to turn that off.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, well, it's top of the hour here, so I have to wrap up. John, thank you for that great presentation and all the great follow-up with the Q&A. We will, as I mentioned, have a landing page on Cadalyst.com within 24 hours or so of concluding this event today. Go to Cadalyst.com/digital signatures, no hyphen, all one word, and we'll have a recording of today's presentation, a copy of the PowerPoint if you would like to share that with other decision makers in your group. We'll have some links for you there that will help address some of the other questions that came up today and so forth. You can send questions or feedback about the presentation today to customer service at longitudemedia.com. That's us. And don't hesitate to check out the ARX website or contact them directly at sales@arx.com if you have questions about the technology, pricing, etc. So thank you, everyone who's still on the line. We appreciate your interest today and your participation. And we hope you'll be back here again for future web presentation from Cadalyst. Have a great day.